My name is Nick Cooper. I'm Managing Director of Millward Brown Optimal, and what we do is we publish lists of the top brands around the world. A brand is a combination of two things, rational and emotional. What's really important is the emotional part of a brand, because that's what makes a brand different from a product. And the reason the emotional part is important is because that is what creates loyalty with consumers. A brand goes global by attracting the same consumers in different countries around the world. It does this by meeting their needs in the same way, no matter where they are. A brand is important to a company in a number of ways. We think that about 30% of the value of a company comes from brand. Whereas in the past, companies created value through things like land and buildings, today they create value through things like ideas, people, software, and above all, brands. Another reason why brands are so important is because of this emotional connection with consumers. That means that consumers will buy that brand more often, and even more importantly, they will pay more money for it. As a result, the company will make more profit from a brand. The way we measure the value of a brand comes from two things. First of all, we look at the value of a company. It's a bit like what you will see on a stock exchange. The second part is that we conduct our own research into what consumers think about brands and the role that the brand plays in whether or not they buy that product. What that enables us to do is to create a percentage for the role of the brand. So for example, if the market value of a company is $10 billion and the role of the brand is 30%, then the brand value is $3 billion. Traditionally, the big brands have come from the developed economies of North America, Europe, and Japan. So we are all familiar with brands such as Apple or BMW or Sony. But increasingly, big brands are coming from fast-growing markets called BRIC markets. BRIC meaning Brazil, Russia, India, and China. Some of the brands coming out of the BRIC countries are really fascinating. So for example, if we take MTS from Russia, which is the leading mobile phone company, not only is it very successful in Russia, but it's increasingly successful outside of Russia. And it's done this by being really, really innovative. So for example, you can do lots of financial service transactions over the phone, which is something you really can't do in the West. The most important market among the BRICS is China, mainly because it's the largest and the fastest growing. The most successful international brand coming out of China is Lenovo, the maker of laptops and PCs. This is regarded as a high quality product, it's respected as a high quality brand, and it now gets over half of its revenues from outside of China, which is an astonishing achievement. Social media is having a big effect on brands right now. Some of the biggest brands we see are in fact social media brands, such as Google or Facebook or Twitter. And social media is something that many consumers are very familiar with now. But what will change in the future is that companies will actually work out how to use social media properly. At the moment, they still haven't all set up social media departments. They haven't got social media marketing budgets. But when they do, it means that companies will be able to connect directly with consumers around the world, and consumers will be able to find their favorite brands wherever they are.